Although it is the opposite of distinguished, the tradition is nevertheless a long one. Its wellsprings rise in the Greek dramas of the 4th century BC, then gather force in the Roman comedy plays of Plautus and Terence. Then, in 14th century Italy, came about a new form of entertainment, the commedia dell'arte. Young lovers were the sympathetic characters, lovers assisted in their efforts to find happiness by comic servants called zanni. Chief among the zanni was Arlecchino. We call him Harlequin today, an acrobat and a clown. He typically carries a baton, the batacchio, composed of 2 wooden slats. Arlecchino would strike the other characters with this batacchio, and it produced an exaggerated sound that would add to the amusement of the audience. The English term for this tool, used in the service of this less than noble but ancient and well-beloved form of theater, is slapstick. It was always implicitly understood that they were the children of immigrants. Their real-life mother could not pronounce the name Samuel. Her attempts at it gave her son his lifelong nickname, Shemp. And yet somehow they were also quintessentially American. Their audience traditionally has split along gender lines. Men typically love them. Women tend to be more ambivalent. And there have been detractors who call them simplistic.
We might as well press his pants.
But the Howard brothers and Larry Fine attempted and accomplished more than they are sometimes credited with.
What's the idea?
In their films, authority figures were always discomfited and pretensions always uncovered. But their work has even greater depths. Very few people knew it during their heyday, but the boys were fascinated students of the psychoanalytic theories then current among the intelligentsia, and they wove phallic imagery into their works in ways that melded broad humor and disturbingly complex themes of power, consumption, and sexuality. My own personal Stooges revelation came about 20 years ago in a little bar on the Upper West Side. I was talking to Susan Sontag. We were having a rather heated discussion, and I said to her, Susan, there must be some expression of popular culture that does not merit deep critical analysis, that just is what it is. And she said, well, name one. And I said, well, I don't know, the Stooges, the Three Stooges. And she said, she looked at me and she said, Cousin Basil. Well, at the time I had no idea what she meant, even though this was even then incredibly famous sequence. Of course, very soon after went and saw it, and I found that it was an amazingly incisive, beautifully etched portrait of a woman so dominated by the male society, the male-dominated society that she was raised in, that she was completely unaware and even denied her own innate and obvious strength and power.
Now don't you go away. Hello? Yes, this is Miss Hopkins. Your cousin Basil? Well, then who is...
I was just...
How dare you pretend to be my cousin Basil? I'll teach you a thing or two. You won't. Don't you dare strike me. She's taking advantage of a poor, weak, helpless woman.
Boy, his kisses are getting louder.
You horrible person, you...
Well, it's brilliant. There's a consensus. It's simply brilliant, and I called her up the next day and I said, Susan, I want to thank you because I now see what's there. And that was the start of my career doing critical analysis of the Stooges canon. The Stooges are gone now, but we owe them a debt, for they preserved the tradition and helped us be sure that there will always be more Zanni, more Arlecchinos, more clowns.